Hey guys, Jim here. I am beyond excited for what I'm about to share with you. Those of you that have been following my channel for a while know that I did a review, I guess probably about 6 months or so ago, on the Frank Fischer battle. And since that time I have been extremely impressed with everything that I've seen him do, even to the point where we're now building a collaboration knife. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for my special piece to finally get done. And you may recall I had mentioned in that video that, the original was just a little too small for me, and that I was going to ask him to make me a version that was about 3 3/4 inch blade. Well, I thought I was going to be the first person, but, once I said that, everybody started ordering that. So mine is not quite as unique as it was going to be originally, but there's still some pretty unique stuff here. Now, if you go back and watch the original video, the first thing you're going to notice is there's a tremendous size difference. But the other thing is, look at the cleanliness of this overall look. Now, those of you that know me and see me post on Instagram a lot of stuff, you already know what I'm about to mention. But for everyone else, see if you can pick out the differences. And I'll even give you a quick comparison to a Todd Fischer Archangel. Not really so much for the design, but, how these are built. And see if you can pick up on it right away. Get that out of there for a little bit. It is a completely hidden hardware build except for the pivot. This is the only battle that Frank has ever built like this, and it took a tremendous amount of work. For those curious as to how this is achieved, because there's no hardware on either side, go back and watch the video that I did in Stan Wilson's shop. He adopted the system that Stan Wilson did that allows him to basically use a special tool and go inside the knife when the blade is open and screw everything together from the inside. But the trick of it is you're not even really going to see much of anything going on inside. This thing is absolute brilliance. The other thing that makes this special is the utterly insane thickness. Now, you can't tell how thick the blade is right now because of the way that he profiles the top of it. When I open it, you'll see it a little bit better. That is a 220 thou thick blade. It is a monster. When you see it from the backspacer side, you start to get an idea of just how thick this knife really is. And the action, oh my God. Listen to that once again. It's absolutely insane. I could not possibly be happier with this knife, or really any knife. And it's going to completely change the way in which I collect now. Everything, this is a true game changer for me. I had already liked the battle, otherwise I wouldn't have given it a favorable review, otherwise I wouldn't have had ordered one for myself. But this thing is utterly insane. So you've got the 3 3/4 inch LMAX steel blade. Oh. You've got this perfectly contoured handle. This is the first time that a battle has seen a custom-made pivot. This was something that Frank and I both felt was important for this build. And he knew that I wanted to bring a little touch of color, a little bit of blue. So he did blue anodizing, but only inside of the screw. And he did that on both sides. And he brought the blue through this custom-made backspacer. It's the first time he's done a backspacer like this as well. Now notice how everything perfectly flows. The marble carbon fiber, there is not a seam at all in between the titanium and the marble carbon fiber. It is flawless execution like I've really honestly never seen before. You'll notice now on the inside you've got all that fantastic jeweling, and there is the only time that you're going to see how the hardware system was done. I mean, this thing is just astounding. There is Frank's name right there in the back spacer. Every part of this knife has been contoured by hand, polished and satin finished. Look at the way the light reflects off of all of this titanium. Perfect lockup as you would expect. Look at the massive thickness of the titanium. This thing is just truly, absolutely incredible. I can't get over it sometimes. So like I said, you got a 220 thou thick blade. The actual titanium is even thicker at 260 thou. So you've got a massive, massive lock bar here. Bolster lock, which was something I had specially requested because Frank normally does these in a frame lock. And it was great. It looked fantastic because his amazing orange peel, which I still say looks more like fine eggshell. I've never seen such fine work in orange peel before. Covers the whole backside of the knife usually. But I really wanted to carry over the look of the marble carbon fiber and create a continuous flow with this double bolstered look that he has going on. Now, not only are these inlays absolutely, completely, and utterly seamless, but you'll also notice something else. You have a titanium frame, titanium liner, and backspacer. You almost can't see a line where all of these things go together. Well, I shouldn't say liner because these are thick frames. It's not a liner lock, I apologize. You can barely detect where the pieces are put together here. Everything is done with such an incredible degree of fluidity. I'm honestly, I am truly stunned, and I feel truly blessed to be able to own this amazing knife. Got a blue Damascus clip on there. Again, that was done to match the little blue touches that I wanted to achieve. Also fully contoured, also hidden hardware. No way to detect from the outside how that's attached. So it's almost like the knife is held together by sorcery or something, because all you can see is the pivot. Once you cover that pivot, there's not a piece of hardware anywhere. And this is that difference between buying a $2,000 knife, which is what this is, versus buying a $500 knife, an $800 knife, a $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 knife. Every time you make that level up, you get something else that's so time consuming that it has to be that much more expensive. It makes me completely second guess how I've been aiming my collection. And I've told you guys for a few weeks now that I'm taking my collection in a different direction, and that was thanks to visiting with both Todd and Frank, and also visiting Stan Wilson in the same day. It's shown me something that I should be aspiring for in some cases, not a lot more money than the stuff that I've been buying. He's added the harpoon. There's only a handful of battles out there that have a harpoon. And he's done a one-off finish on mine. It's not very easy to pick up on, but look at the forward grind here. Notice how that is somewhat reflective. It's not quite a mirror, but almost. And then I move it, and now you see that this is a much more fine satin, that you don't really see my camera lens in there like you did in here. He's doing a special polish here, and a special polish up here, I do believe. No, it was just on the front grind. And he had told me about it. I'm like, no, I really want the all satin. I really loved how that looked. And I got to tell you, it's a very subtle difference. And you don't really notice it until you move the knife in the right angle and you see something reflecting off of it. So there again, there's my finger. And there's that more polished area. It is absolutely amazing. And yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I'm still in awe. I've only had the knife for about a day. And I cannot get past the level of perfection that's displayed on every surface in every part of this knife. The flipping action on this, you guys know that I have owned some really good flippers. You guys know that I have handled even more by doing the Guest Blade series. This is, hands down, the single best action that I have ever handled in any flipper ever. Period. It is the fastest, the snappiest, the most responsive. And guys, yeah, I'm putting that above an RJ Martin, whether it be a Q36, whether it be the modulator like I have here. There is no comparison. And when you feel it, it actually has recoil. It actually kicks out and moves your hand every time you flip it. There's a feeling to it that I can't put into words. It's incredible. Now, to give you an idea what the traditional size usually is, the original Battle is pretty much the same size as my Brad Southard custom, my Tarsus. When you put these here, you'll see there's a really, really, really big difference. But there's also going to be a big difference in the thicknesses as well, because the regular Battle is only a little bit thicker than my Southard. I mean, this is basically a double thick Battle. And I love the fact that he went so thick on the blade stock, because that makes a much more pronounced flat, and it makes a much more pronounced look for each of the grinds as well. So what you've got is something that just blows your mind when you look at it. It is one of the most aggressive blade profiles I've ever seen. So basically you have a double recurve, Tanto harpoon. Yeah, that just happened. It's already kicking every other knife out of my pocket. I have a really hard time carrying anything else. And just to kind of give you a nice rounded look at the Fischer family, both Frank and Todd. These are two of my absolute favorite knives, period. And you'll see the similarities in the contouring and the custom work that they do. The fact that every single component, whether it's an exposed component that you'll see or something that's inside the knife that you'll really never see, everything is completely finished. Whether it's done with their satin finish or it's polished in some areas or they've done jeweling, there is something done to every single part of every single knife that they make. It's like, I love this area right in here, that beautiful choil, the polishing that they've done on the edges of the titanium. There's the jeweling inside of both knives. Their back spacers are finished on the inside. That's also where they each choose to sign their names. Their pocket clips are always custom. They're beautifully shaped, contoured. Great retention on them as well. I mean, everything that they do, it's about giving the customer the best possible experience and the most bang for the buck. And now the problem is, now that Frank has built this completely screwless, I look at everything I own, even sometimes my Archangel, and I go, gosh, I wish everything could have a hidden hardware system. And I do, I truly do. Now again, going back to the flipping action, it is rock solid, super fast. This is a Kirby Lambert Blitz. Great flipper. We all know Kirby Lambert makes an exceptional quality knife. I love mine. But you can't take them and really compare them. And the sound is tremendously different as well. You know, another favorite of mine is my John Graham Razel. And again, these comparisons are not to say this knife is garbage and this maker is not as good. It's to show you, because you can't, reach through your screen right now and hold this and do it yourself. It's to show you just how impressive that action really is. Because I'm putting this knife up against the best knives in my collection. Go back to the Southard. Southard is snappy, but still not as snappy as that. And you already saw it take the RJ down. So now I've got a knife that, in my opinion, is probably one of the most absolute beautiful designs that exists today, coupled with incredible hand finishing, with the fact that if I close my eyes and Helen Keller this, there is no way for you to tell. If you handed a blind man this knife and he ran his hand, don't let him run his hands up here. He's blind. Don't forget, he won't know what you're handing him. You're like, oh, you're handing me a broom handle. No, it's a knife. It's going to slice him open. Don't be mean to blind people. Anyway, so he runs his hands, or her, it could be a blind lady. I don't want to, be sexist about this. Run their hands back and forth across this. You cannot tell that this is not just one smooth piece of titanium. It is absolutely undetectable. Same thing back here. You can't tell where one material ends, even on these corners, and another material begins, or the transition from titanium to titanium. And it's got to be really hard to put two pieces of the same material next to each other, two pieces of titanium, and make it look like it's an integral, where it's finished so well that you almost cannot tell that there are three different pieces of titanium right here. It's magnificent. And something that even in this price range, I've never seen achieved. All of these things that I'm talking about, the hidden hardware, all of the contouring, the dehorning of everything, the matching up of all the materials, the action, all of the detailed handwork, custom pivot. I've never seen all of these things in one knife in this price range. Now you might say, well, Jim, you could buy from this maker and spend, $4,000 to get your hands on it. Guys, this is not secondary market inflated value. This is direct from the maker. Again, you've got to factor in the cost of, the Damascus clip. Marble carbon fiber is more expensive. The custom pivot, the hidden hardware system, all the extras that he did on this, you're looking at $2,000. If you didn't go for all the fancy things, let's say you just did the battle and you just did the hidden hardware, you're probably going to be $300-400 less than that. I don't know. But the whole package, for what we're seeing guys out there flipping other knives for, a Mayo Dr. Death Jr. flipper that was, $800-900 from Tom Mayo Direct, that people are paying $3,500 for. I can own this and another battle that has a few less things on it. Are you out of your friggin' mind? And that's where I keep talking about the secondary market being so insane. This is the level of knife that if you're into high-end custom knives and you're willing to spend around $1,500 to $2,000, this is what you should be aspiring for, not overpaying on a rather simplified knife that's two pieces of titanium and a nice blade all bolted together and no exotic materials, just because somebody tells you that it's worth more money. See what happens in a year. This is a knife that can do nothing but go up in value. The quality is there. The amount of handwork is there. This is not a knife that was completed in a couple of days. We see a lot of makers that are in that $1,000 to $2,000 range that are able to pump out 2 or 3 knives in a week, sometimes more, depending on how much they're using smart technology to do the builds. And at the least, they're able to put out 1 or 2 knives in a week. A knife like this takes Frank more than a week to do, the one individual knife. And this is a guy that works from sun up to almost sun up again. He very rarely ever sleeps. I'll get text messages from him at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll bullshit around like little schoolgirls. The guy never sleeps, never sees his family. He's always building, always making. He's got about an 18-month wait right now. He's gonna end up closing his books. If you want to get anything made by him, maybe it's the Commander, maybe it's the standard size battle. He is making a larger battle as well. A friend of mine got one. Remember, mine is 3.75 inch blade. My buddy Dave actually got the 4.25 inch blade. I just felt that was going to be way too big for me to carry. So you're able to get 3 different sizes. He has a lot of different materials that he's happy to work with. And I can guarantee you that every single knife that comes out of his shop does so with a tremendous amount of anal retentiveness. This is a guy that does not stop until he feels that he has completely perfected your knife. I have seen him completely reblade knives just because of a small little thing that even I didn't notice when I was standing in his shop looking at it. He's like, yeah, well, now that here, take a look at this and take a look at that. I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to put a new blade in it for the guy before I get it shipped out. I'm going to completely redo that whole thing. It's insane. So you know when you get a knife from him, it's going to be done right the first time, and you're getting custom hand touches on your knife that nobody else is really willing to do. That's why this is right now the absolute cherry in my collection. And it's only going to get better from here. I'm not even looking back. I'm not looking to buy just any knife. I want everything to be a special experience because this, I have been high for 24 hours since I got this, just off of the elation of knowing that this is my knife, that I own this and I can carry this and do whatever the hell I want to with it. Just feeling it in my hand. I'm utterly amazed. All right, I do have to cut this off. My camera's about ready to cut me off. Thank you guys for watching as always. If you're going to order something from Frank, you really seriously need to do it now. If you want our collaboration knife, the Hyperion, all of the spots sold, but we did offer 5 individual knives to Arizona Custom Knives. You can get in touch with Ryan there and see what their process is, because if this knife is this good, I can't even wait to see how the Hyperion turns out. We're about ready to start cutting the parts for the prototype in the next week or two, so I will keep you guys updated as best I can. All right, guys, I will see you on the next video, which will actually be something kind of fun. It's going to be a Neil Blackwood custom. Ooh, get ready for that, boys and girls.